We want to build a house with a one-car garage.
Frankly, I don't even think you should waste your money on a garage.
What do you mean?
Well, I saw the car you pulled up in. I'd park it in the street. Pray somebody hits it. In fact, I know a guy.
If you're like me, the garage is probably one of the most important parts of the house, and it's always important to build it right to begin with. You don't want to have to come back and add on later, and if it's not big enough or not laid out properly, you're going to be disappointed the whole time that you live in that house. Now, if you just park cars in the garage, maybe all you need is a two-car garage. If you're like me and you have workbenches or toys, you need a little bit bigger space. Now that space is cheap to add on, one of the cheapest spots in the whole house, because you don't have to pay for special flooring, you don't have special light fixtures, you don't have to pay to heat and cool that area, so you don't have to have a bigger air conditioner or heater. So you can save a lot of money in the garage area, and adding that extra square footage is cheaper when you build a home than ever, so that's the time to do it. A few things to watch for in the garage are where you have insulation. Now, you don't have to insulate a whole garage if you're not going to heat and cool it, but you've got to do the common walls between the house and the garage. You've got to make sure that does have insulation, or else you're going to lose a lot of dollars out of that wall. And talking about walls, do you need bare walls that are exposed, or do you need sheetrock up? Well, it depends how you want your garage to look. If you do go with sheetrock, and you're going to have to on the common wall, it needs to be 5/8 of an inch thick. What that does is slow down a fire. In the rest of the house, you can have 1/2 inch sheetrock, but in the garage, codes require it be at least 5/8 of an inch. That way, if one of the cars ever catch on fire, it'll give you more time to get out of the house before the fire enters your main living area. Now let's take a look at the garage doors and the garage door openers. If you get the right opener, it's actually this quiet when you open the garage door. Instead of a chain, which makes a lot of noise, we've got a rubber strap pulling that door open. Very, very quiet, so you don't have to hear the garage door throughout the whole house when someone comes home. You also need to consider safety around the garage door as well. If you have children that might run underneath the garage door, if you might ever accidentally back the car underneath the door, you need the safety beams that actually stop the garage door when something crosses the beam. That way, if a child runs underneath, the door will stop and go back up and not hurt your child. Also, make use out of your corners. Instead of just having an empty corner that collects dust and dirt, go ahead and build in a storage cabinet. Very inexpensive, and you get to use all of this space. It's not just wasted money. Also, think about your outlets. There can be some water entering the garage. You don't want to get electrocuted, so you need to have a GFCI. Let's go take a look. A GFCI outlet is a ground fault circuit interrupter. All of the outlets in your garage are hooked on a circuit with one of these GFCIs. If you ever have a cord plugged in and the other end gets wet, instead of you getting electrocuted, it actually shuts off the GFCI outlet. See a light come on if your unit has a light, and you know that the power's been cut down and you will not get electrocuted. To reset, all you do is press the other button, and now you've got power again back in your garage. If that doesn't work, go to your breaker box, because it's been enough of a shock that it actually flipped a breaker. When you're designing your garage, make sure that you have enough power where you need it. If you use power tools, or if you're going to have a refrigerator or washer or dryer, you're going to need electricity for those. Plus, possibly water. We're going to have an ice maker with this refrigerator, so we needed a water outlet. If you got a washer and dryer, you're going to need a hot and a cold. And you need to plumb it now, because it's much cheaper now than it will be later. Now, water is always a big concern in a garage, because there's a lot of ways that the water can get in. Let's take a look. Now, the last thing you need in any part of your house is a big opening where water can get in, but that's exactly what you've got with garage doors. That's why garage floors need to slope away from the house. You need to run any water that gets in there back out of the house. You don't want it collecting there. And then your driveway and all of your landscaping also need to run away from the house. If you have a driveway that tilts towards your garage, I guarantee you're going to have a water problem and start building some duck ponds inside your garage. And the garage floor itself, while it's new, go ahead and seal it. That way, if you have any oil or antifreeze leaking out of your car, it's not going to cause a permanent stain, and you can clean it back up.